Hey, this is Josh with pmstudent.com, and in this video I want to talk about LinkedIn recommendations, how to get them, why you want to get them, how to use them after you've got them. LinkedIn recommendations, it's basically a method for people that you've worked with to be able to recommend you, write a little paragraph about why you're so awesome, and that gets displayed on your LinkedIn profile for other people to be able to see, hiring managers or recruiters, whoever else might be looking at your profile. And I'll get into it a little bit later, but there's some other techniques that you can use to leverage those recommendations as well. Number one, how do you get recommendations in the first place? Well, if you go to your profile on LinkedIn, in the top right hand corner, you'll see a little link and it says ask for recommendations, basically. And through that little link, you can basically spam your entire network and say, hey, give me a recommendation. That is a feature on LinkedIn that I recommend nobody ever use. I wish they would get rid of it. Seriously, why would you do that to someone? That is a very, very poor way to go about getting recommendations. If you know anything about me, in general, I think that networking and proper networking is very important. And the process that I use for getting recommendations on LinkedIn is just a one piece of the broader process of professional networking, building professional relationships, and maintaining them over time. So how do you get recommendations if Josh is saying that you shouldn't spam everybody and say, hey, write a recommendation for me? Well, this is what you should do. You should go and write recommendations for people on LinkedIn that you have personal experience with in one way, shape, or form. You've worked with them, you know them pretty well, basically, and you can put a good, heartfelt, accurate recommendation on their profile. It's got to be sincere. It's got to be sincere, and do that without asking them, without emailing them and saying, hey, I put a recommendation on your LinkedIn profile. None of that. They'll get the notification when you submit that, and they can choose to post that to their profile or not. They can actually send it back to you and ask for a change or something like that if you said something in there that they don't want to have on their profile. And don't ask for anything. Don't expect anything. Just like all the other networking techniques that I teach, you should be doing things for other people first, and that should be your focus. Networking is just about relationships and doing things for other people, and it's the same thing here. What I've found is that you'll probably end up getting between 20 and 40% of the people that you write recommendations for will just spontaneously, because it's a good indicator for them, they want to reciprocate, and they really do have a sincere wish to recommend you because they really do think that you're awesome. You're going to get about 20 to 40% back. It's not 100%, and so the reasons for that are many. One, some people are lazy. Two, some people may not feel like they're in a good position to write a recommendation for you. Maybe they didn't like you. Maybe you like them, but they didn't like you. Or they didn't think that you did a good job. That's a possibility too. And some people don't. Some people actually don't think about it. Somebody will do something for them, and their first thought isn't, what can I do to reciprocate? And that may be the case as well. And that's basically the strategy that I've used. I never ask for LinkedIn recommendations. I just get LinkedIn recommendations, mainly because I write recommendations for other people who I can write a truthful recommendation for because I think they're awesome. That's the best way to go about this process. So again, LinkedIn, get rid of that link for people to spam their network. Get rid of the link. I mean, the reason why that's a bad idea is because, think about it, if somebody's looking for a job or something and they send you an email and they say, hey, do you have any jobs at your company? Or here's my resume, can you pass it on? Can you go ahead and leave a recommendation for me on my LinkedIn profile? It's basically they're asking you for something. You may not feel comfortable doing it. They're kind of putting you into a kind of weird position when they ask you for something like that, especially if they don't have a strong professional or personal relationship with you already. Really what you're doing is just hurting the professional relationships that you've been building. So that's counterproductive to your networking efforts. And if you do get recommendations, they're probably not going to be very heartfelt. It's going to be a bunch of bullshit bingo, excuse my language. This person is a dynamic, energized individual with best recommendations are ones that talk about specific instances or specific skill sets that people have. So when you write your recommendations, do those things. Talk about specifics of these people, and you're probably going to get the same type of thing back, or at least you're more likely to get a higher quality recommendation back. Okay, now that we've talked about how to get them, what do you do with them after you got them? Well, there's a couple things that you can do. You know, a lot of hiring managers nowadays will go on the web and they'll find your LinkedIn profile, and so they can see those recommendations. They're listed right there on your profile, so that's a good thing. Recruiters can see it, hiring managers can see it. The other thing that you can do that I teach in my PM Career Coaching course is put together a portfolio, and this is a way for you to stand out from the crowd in terms of the other candidates that are going for a particular position. And one of the things that you can put into that portfolio is a printout of all of your LinkedIn recommendations. You've got 3 or 4 pages of recommendations from other people that have worked with this person in the past, that are, you know, saying this is the best person ever, basically. I mean, that makes you feel a lot more confident in hiring this person. Better than a reference. I mean, calling 3 references on the phone is not a bad thing either. A lot of hiring managers and companies never call your references, and job seekers think that that's a good thing, but it's not. The great thing about LinkedIn references is that you can get recommendations from all sorts of different people that worked for you, people that you worked for, people that you worked with. It's almost like doing a 360 review right there on your LinkedIn profiles. There's a lot of things you have to do to make sure that they read that. So the portfolio, definitely a good thing. If you haven't already bought the PM Career Coaching course, you might want to check that out at learn.pmstudent.com. That portfolio idea is a really great way to stand out from the crowd. Anything else on LinkedIn? Recommendations? I don't think so. You can leave a comment if you're watching this on pmstudent.com. Leave a comment in the comments. If you're watching it on YouTube, leave a comment in the comments. I get all those comments, so I can respond to your questions. Or if you have other ideas about LinkedIn recommendations that you want to talk about, let's talk about those too. This is Josh from pmstudent.com. Done with my rant for the day.